This is TJ Rivera, minor league coach with the Cleveland Guardians, and you're watching the Legends on Deck podcast with host Brian Koss and David Condi.
Pronto llegará el día de mi suerte, te lo juro por mi gente, te juro que un día llegará. And we won't stop, we always do, we make it. Even though you play a hater, we still made it to the top.
Yeah. A mi haters los tengo jalándose el cabello. Ni me molesto si mis perros viajan más que ellos. Siempre he sido estrella, pero no me estrello. Todo lo que yo tiro se vende como yello. 100% como Big Pong. Estoy jugando ajedrez, se quedaron en ping pong. Nigga, estoy comiendo bien, mírame, estoy pipón. Amarra tu shorty que está suelta como Pippen. Laisa, en un Macao yo soy como Messi en Barça. Otro gol anotado para el niño, salsa. No hay espacio en la vuelta pa' gente falsa. Yo me acuerdo cuando yo dormía en el estudio preguntando cuándo llegará el día de mi suerte. Te lo juro por mi gente, te juro que un día llegará.
And we won't stop, we always do, we make it. Even though you play a hater, we still made it to the top.
Papi, yo vengo a hablarte del 100 por 35, la cuna de Maelo, la tierra de la voz, la patria de Frankie Ruiz. Tú sabes que nosotros nos inventamos la rumba.
Mr. W, soy el vaquero del área calle de donde la cultura es dura y el joseo es everyday. En los 90 los envidiosos no daban break, ahora comandamos la brea de PR hasta ley. En la tarima.
Welcome to episode 66 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm David Condi, and I'm pleased to welcome back Dylan Spaulding as my co-host today. Dylan, thanks again for stepping in for Brian today. As spring training begins to wrap up, we look forward to opening day for professional baseball get started. I'm excited. We finally get it going. You know, I was Super Bowl Sunday. I was happy because it meant that baseball was about to get started. So I don't like football, but I love baseball. So I knew this was going to get going. So it's good that now we want to bring on our special guest today. We have Oddanier Mosqueda. He's a Venezuelan-born pitcher who spent several seasons with the Red Sox system. And now he's with, unfortunately, the other side of my favorite team, which is the Mets. He's with the Yankees, but I will root for him only, not the Yankees. Sorry, guys. But Oddanier, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be in your podcast.
Thank you.
Oddanier, I guess we'll get started by getting the background of our guest, and that's what we like to do here on Legends on Deck. So, growing up in Venezuela, when were you first introduced to baseball? When did you start playing baseball at a competitive level?
So I born like in a small residency, and so they were like a car. We play like as a kid, like like sometimes you can play on the street. I was playing like in a little cart. I started playing like in an actual team when I was like 10 years old, something like that. It is funny. I mean, yeah, it is funny that team is called, the name is still Boston. So it is crazy that was my first thing as a little league baseball. My first pro team was the Red Sox. But it was pretty good. I spent a couple years, like I did like it from the beginning. Going practice games on the weekends, and then I started to be like in academy, getting ready to professional at the age like 14, 15 years old.
So when you started, were you mainly a pitcher? Were you a shortstop? But you're lefty. So what did you feel like you were limited? What did you really gear towards?
Yeah, so for sure I only can play first base and the outfield and also pitching, and that was like more my positions. I was a pretty good outfield because I was like the hit thrower always. I was pretty good. I did like being diving for balls, all the stuff. But there was a moment that I just started being as a pitcher because 80 miles per hour were so fast for me.
Yeah. So
if the Yankees are hearing this, they may want to make you the next Babe Ruth two-way player.
What about, like, okay, so you started on the outfield first base. What about hitting? Was that something you like to do? Is that something you still maybe would like to do in the
Yeah,
future,
yeah,
just
it's
for
something
fun?
that I like to do. Sometimes when I'm going to my all academy where I sign, I always go back to where I train. And sometimes I just take a round of BP for fun. But that's it. Like I don't know. I think like it's a pitcher that started throwing like 80, 85. Like I said, it's gonna be just swing and a miss.
Well, we got Otani too, so like I said, they could be that transition, kind of doing both of it.
Yes,
But
but it's been a long time without practice
yeah,
that.
yeah. So at 17, you were playing Dominican Summer League, and then at 18, you were already in Florida in the Gulf Coast League. What was the transition like moving from Venezuela to the Dominican Republic, playing there, and then going to the United States at such a young age? You said that you signed you became professional was like 14, 15, I believe playing. Well, playing at
Yeah,
that
so I
level.
yeah I did sign my contract with the Red Sox when I was 16 years old. It was different. Like when I went to the Dominican for the first time, obviously there were a bunch of Latin guys, but for sure it was different being away from my family, being away from my country first time, going out the country. But I got like a person that I knew before, and then I just made some good relationships. That kind of helped me. The good thing is we were young, we were still kids, so we have that like we're friendly with everyone. But and then to the United, it was the English was kind of hard for me in the beginning, but I was just practicing, and doesn't matter if I was making mistakes. I was just always practicing. That was one of the hard things to play here in the United, but it was kind of similar to when I moved to the DR.
So if everyone doesn't know, I meet very many people in baseball. I mean, they met each other through the Red Sox system. His English teacher kind of brought me on to just kind of help them transition and understanding, how to do interviews and everything. And you were a fast learner. You learned when I would interview you, you kind of got everything very quickly. And I do you feel like adapting in the United States meant really learning English at a younger, being comfortable with the English so that you can communicate with the ball players and the coaches? Did you feel like that was important?
Yeah, in that part, shout out to my teacher Millie.
Yeah.
She was there always for us, like being like a mom also, because when we are like so away from home, we need someone to be like our mom, and she was one of those. And I think like one of the tips to start like learning the English or whatever language is like the confidence. Most people just have no confidence because they're gonna make mistakes, but mainly it doesn't matter. Like repeat it, do it again. I'm not doing it because I'm mad of you or I wanna be bad with you. It's just because that's gonna be the way you're gonna learn it.
When did you feel in your transition when you came to the United States? When did you feel like you were like, wow, this is what I want to do, baseball? You kind of when did you realize that wow, this I'm doing great at this and I want to continue it? Because that transition from Venezuela to here, from Dominican to here, it's not easy for everybody, right? The transition is very difficult to adapt to here. But when did you feel like, wow, this is I'm here, I'm doing it, and I like this?
Yeah, it is hard. Like it is a huge competition. Huge. There is a bunch of people. There are a lot of good players with talent. Um, and it is it is different when you start seeing like big leagues, you start seeing those stadium full of people. Like when I'm playing, like trying to in a tryout or something like that, they were just the scouts and maybe your family if they are available to go. And then in the DR was like literally just the same players watching the games. And then when I went to the United for the first time, I started like visiting sometimes the big league games, and that was like a something that opened my mind. Like I want to do this. I want to be in there. I want like 10,000 people watching me, and that's something that like it is hard. It is hard, but if you have a goal, obviously there are gonna be a bunch of obstacles, but you gotta just remember why you start.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do that. When I used to cover minor league baseball and I had to go on the field and with my photos and take pictures, I had to walk from dugout to dugout. I felt like I would trip. I'd be embarrassed. I have so many people watching me. You're in the center of the field. You're on the mound. Do you feel like you can zone out the fans and focus on what you're doing, or does it? You know, in the beginning, I'm sure when you're younger, it's kind of harder, but where you're at right now, do you feel like you've been able to get that presence and feel comfortable on the mound without worrying about what's around you?
It is a process. It is a process because every single level, like in that part that you're talking, like people watching you and being nervous. It is a process because when you go to like when you play here in the Florida League, there is not that much people, so you're more like kind of relaxed, and then you go to like low A. There you start seeing like 1,000 people. You start feeling like adrenaline. I don't take it like I'm gonna get nervous or something. I feel like it's like adrenaline. Sometimes I'm even better now with the persons watching me.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I feel like I need to see persons watching me to be better.
That's like a motivation for you.
Yeah, it is the adrenaline. Like literally, you're not gonna be never the same one in the bullpen than in the actual game when all the people and the lights are going.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a great feeling to be able to continue to pitch at every level you pitched and to gain that experience that you've gained so far.
Yes, it is a process. Like I said, it is hard to like go. There are a couple players that literally can skip two levels, one level, and because they show that they're ready. But like there is a process, and it's good to be through that process because you're not gonna anything is gonna take you as a surprise.
Yeah,
But that I'm grateful that I went level by level. So now where I am, anything is gonna surprise me. I know what to do, how to do it, how to prepare to those moments. So I feel like that process helped me to be where I am.
the one question I have on top of that, you've made friends in the organization when you were with the Red Sox, and those friends, you know, they've gone on to other teams. They've gone. Some of them have made the majors. Do you feel like that relationship you had with them helped to push each other so that knowing that you're next to get to that next level?
For sure, for sure. So that was in one time of my career. I was like, all my friends started going a little bit more quicker than me. There were a moment like where I was like kind of struggling. I was like thinking like they're my friends. They start with me. Why they're over there and not me? I gotta be there with they.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a motivation.
Yeah, and I feel like you're right there. You're next. You're next to catch up to them, so that you can all kind of be at the same level again.
I'm gonna tweak this next question here a little bit. David, you kind of touched on it a little bit. So, Oddanier, you kind of mentioned you obviously played at every level. You were up at AAA last season with Worcester in the Red Sox organization. You know, just going through this process in your career and going up against different hitters at different levels and their ability and such. I mean, what has it been like, you know, learning about yourself and tooling yourself as a pitcher going up against, you know, different types of hitters, you know, in their career. You know, some guys are farther along in their career. They might be veterans at AAA when you're going up against low A guys who might be just getting their hitting started and might be still in that development process early on in their career. So what is that like as a pitcher, you know, facing different types of hitters and kind of using that as a tool to build your game?
You gotta be strong of your mind. Like I always have a mind. I always put in my mind like it doesn't matter who it is. For sure, always respect to the veterans. You gotta know who's hitting against you, like because you cannot be like, okay, I'm just gonna go after him because that person can do damage of you. But I always have on my mind like if you and me are in the same level, it's because you have nothing more than me. We are in the same level because of something. So I always have that on my mind. There nobody's better than me. And that's how I take it. That's how I take it. That's like I make like a tunnel, like to see. I always try to remember those things, but as I said, always like knowing persons, knowing how to pitch. But like I said before, I will prepare. I know how to prepare to those moments, and those moments are not gonna surprise me because sometimes, maybe they have somebody. For example, last year I think it was like against Washington. Um, I can take the name right now. It's a first base. World Series champions. He spent most of the year last year in AAA.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of the
Uh,
name. David, do you have it?
No, it's okay. We'll figure it out.
uh,
But
well, he's a veteran. He's a veteran. He I think he already have like 10 years of service. Matt Adams.
Okay. Yep. Adams. Yep.
Uh, you gotta know who the person is, what he can do, but at the same time, it's like I said, we are here, we are competing for the same goal, so I'm not gonna let you beat me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So far, in your minor league career, what has kind of been some of your favorite experiences so far in your young career? And obviously you got a chance to compete this season in spring training with the Yankees and compete with some of the top stars in baseball like Judge and Stanton. So what has just been kind of some of your favorite moments so far in your career and getting up to where you're at now?
That's pretty good. Like spend time with all those guys that like they are the top 10 in the baseball right now. It is pretty cool, but I think everything goes to the same point. Same point. Those guys make you feel confident to where you at. So they're not gonna treat you like yes, and this guy and the superstar. No, no, like doesn't matter if I'm a triple A guy, but if we are spending the same clubhouse, it's because something. They're gonna give you that confidence. They're gonna make you feel comfortable where you are, so you can do your 100%. That's one of the things that I love in the Yankees clubhouse. Nobody's better than nobody.
you're one of the few guys, I can say maybe a couple of them that have gone from the Red Sox to the Yankees. So even no matter what, you join that crew of guys that have gone from the two teams that don't like each other. So going from Red Sox system to the Yankee system. But I think that at this point in your career, with the success you've had, I see you're a strikeout hitter. You have a great way. Your pitch kind of come. I've seen you pitch a couple of times. The way you're able to get batters out, being from the left side, which is something that a lot of teams need. I feel like the Yankees can give you the opportunity to play at that next level. I would have loved to see you do it with the Red Sox because that's where you started. But in this business of baseball, you just have to go
Yeah.
where the opportunities are going to be. And do you feel like the Yankees are where you feel like that you can get to that level with them and kind of really help them at the next level with the team?
So yeah, I did like wanted. I was crazy to get the call up last year because that was one of my dreams. Being with the Red Sox, the debut in the Fenway. But you just said the right word. Business. Business is business. Um, Now I feel like I can be part of that team. That's gonna be a special team this year. I would like to be part of that. I feel like I can be there because I feel more prepared than last year. I feel like every single year is gonna prepare me more and more and more, and I feel like I can be part of the bullpen.
Yeah, they're gonna have a good team and pitching wise, and just kind of being the bridge to the closer and kind of helping out the starters. I think. I mean, I'm not being biased. I've seen you pitch. I've seen the numbers you put up, and I think you can, coming from the left side, can be a good asset to the organization. In spring training, what have you been working on from where you were previous season to where you're at now to kind of get the next step? Because everyone, AAA, you did very well in AAA last year. I'm sure there's some things you want to work on. What work did you put into spring training this year?
There is always something to work. We're not perfect. So I always say that the big leaguers are not even perfect. But just the kids they're more consistently than most of the people. That's why they're in the bigs. Because sometimes you can see a guy in the Dominican DR, in the Dominican Republic, with a lot of talent, but maybe that guy can be one day hitting 5 home runs and then the next day strike out 3 times. They don't have that consistently. Um, that's what I think that um that's like kind of the key to be a big leaguer.
So I see that you start in 2017. You started some games, and then last year you started about 3 games in AAA. Do you feel like there's? I mean, obviously you started most of your games have been in relief. Do you have a preference? Would you like to be a starter one day, or do you like to come in the middle of a game and kind of just shut the team down when they need you to come in and just kind of shut the batters down? What would you like to do?
In the beginning of my career, my first year here in the United, I was a starter.
Mhm.
But it didn't work for me. I was trying to fit my mechanic. I was having problems with my mechanics. Um, it was not a good year as a starter, and then the next year we did make the adjustments. But the team just decided me to put me as a reliever, and I was good. Like I was taking it. I was doing pretty good. I was feeling more strong, um, more constantly with my pitches. But the last couple of years, I'm just being as a reliever, and I feel like I like more the adrenaline coming in the game, two no outs, men on first and second in the 8 or even in the 9. So I feel like now I like more that adrenaline late on the game than just in the beginning. I did start a couple of games last year, but it was just like as a reliever
Yeah,
star. Like I was going
yeah.
like 1 to 2 innings because the guys that were going after me, they were usually starters, but they were going up and down to the bigs, and they were when they were in the bigs, they were doing the reliever role.
Yeah, I think that I've seen those like bullpen games. They kind of just get the guys in quickly, so this way other guys
Yeah.
can go in. What do you feel like is your strikeout pitch?
So I've been working a couple pitches. Like now I have a really good cutter that with the movements and all the stuff, whoever person can say is a slider. But it's just because all my pitches are like have like a big movement. So I call like a small slider for somebody is my cutter, and then my slider it is like a huge slur.
Oh, okay.
So it's just I feel like it's just depend. I don't. I feel like I can throw whatever pitch to a strikeout. It's just like the sequence. Gotta know when to throw the pitches. Gotta know the swings. Gotta know the part where in the game you are. Like you
Mhm.
cannot be like throwing a 3-0 fastball in the A with the game tied. You gotta be more smart. Like that. That's kind of the things. Like what type of swing that guy do. And for sure, we are like report of the guy. We always prepare before the games. You gotta know what's your strength, what are the weakness of the hitter. Um, we have that information.
Well, that's key, right, Dylan? That baseball it's a mental game, right? You have to be thinking all the time. You have to be ahead of everybody else. You know, it's not just your physicalness. You have to know what you're doing at that moment and be able to throw the right pitch at that moment. And the fact, I mean, slurve. I only seen slurves in video games. I've never seen the slurve move that much. You know, as a pitcher throwing it, but changeups are as important, probably more important than a guy throwing 103 miles an hour fastball. You can throw an off-speed pitch. You got a guy leaning,
Yeah,
rather than him sitting down on a fastball. I love to see the different speeds of the pitch because it just keeps everybody off balance.
yeah. Other things like I feel like I have like a blast that I just throw across my body. I make that decision to the hitters. That's lately like the guys can come to me like, hey, you throw across your body. Like it's so hard to hit you. I feel like you're gonna throw the ball at me. I rather to not face you. But I feel I just have that blessed. And that was like I did prepare for that because I was dealing with my low back the beginning of my career because those things across my body. It was like a bunch of things, like maybe the shoulder sometimes, but we prepared, we worked for, and now thanks God we never like be in the injury list. I always being healthy the entire season, and that's why I prepare.
Do you want to touch on anything?
Nah, no, I think Oddanier touched on pretty much everything that I can think of. I mean, yeah, I mean baseball's a mental game. I mean that's how it is, and you just got to be locked in, and so he said it perfectly. So
Well, then, do you keep in contact with the guys that you kind of grew into the Red Sox system with? Do you guys still, support each other and push each other?
Yeah, for sure. This we make friendships, but this is a business. We gotta know that, and doesn't matter. So I'm really good friend with Rafi Devers, and we he's a lefty and a lefty. That's what getting him out is gonna be one of my jobs.
Yeah,
He's gonna be my enemy at that moment, but then after the game we just can chill.
you just gotta nod to him. He might get one on you, you get one on him, and you just gotta nod to him and just be like, you're my buddy off the
Hopefully,
field. Yeah, but on the field,
hopefully I
we gotta
always
shut you
win.
down. Yeah, there you go. Shut him down.
Yeah, Oddanier, what did you got to pitch against your former team this spring? What was that experience like going up
It was
against
pretty good.
of
It was
your
pretty
former
good.
team?
It was pretty good. I didn't have the results that I want, but that day I was feeling like so good physically, mentally. But that's why this is a game. It's not perfect. I feel like that was my best day to do my best job, but just the results were there. There were other days that I didn't feel it. I didn't feel right. Maybe wasn't my day. I didn't feel my fastball. I didn't feel my off pitch. But whatever happens, and then the results are there, double play, strikeout, something like that. But that that day I was feeling pretty good against the Red Sox, but just the results were there.
Yeah, like you're gonna have off days, you're gonna have good days, but the most important thing is how you feel, right? How you feel going into the
Yeah.
game, how you feel after the game. I mean, you had some pretty decent games coming into that game. What are you working on since then? Are the Yankees doing anything else with you, or are you just kind of preparing to get ready to move forward to the season?
Yeah, so after just right after I signed the contract with the Yankees, we start like getting meetings with the pitching coaches. We start like working on those things. And one of the big improvement for me this year is my changeup. I didn't have a changeup before because it was kind of hard for me throwing across my body and then like doing that motion.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard for me, but they just want me to throw it, and then I just start working on, practicing, and then I feel like right now that I can add that weapon to my arsenal.
And I guess that's an awesome thing. You spend most of your life in the Red Sox, your adult life, right? Going from your teenage years until, your 20s with the Red Sox, and then you go to a different organization. Now you learn something different to add to your repertoire. So I think, that move to this organization is just going to continue to give you success to pitch to reach that level you want to reach to and beyond.
Yeah, if we want to success, we gotta be always an open mind, always hear what the pitching coach or even the vets can add you, because we're here to like help each other. Sometimes I can have a comment, and then they're gonna take it and maybe that work because what it worked for me maybe doesn't work for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's we just gotta try if that works, see how we feeling. If we feel good, okay, let's do it. If we don't feel it, let's try it again or do something different. But that's just like in the bullpen, because when it's
Yeah.
game time, you just gotta do your job. That's why we practice it. We gotta pay attention to a throwing program every single day to have that consistency.
That's great. Listen, I'm glad that I met you when I did. I'm glad we stayed friends, and I'm able to watch your career. I am definitely rooting for you and looking forward to get to that next level, get to your major league debut. If it's with the Yankees, that's fine. I'll be rooting that one day. But you know, I think you're on the right track. I think you're with a good organization, and I think the path is going to take you to where you want to be. And just keep learning, keep growing. You're still young, and you're a lefty, which is key to a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And just keep doing what you're doing. I think you're really gonna, you know, you're gonna achieve the goals that you want and beyond that in the next few years.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, Dylan, you got anything else left on your side you want to kind of know?
No, Oddanier, I really appreciate you jumping on, man. Good luck the rest of spring, and obviously, whether you're in AAA or whether we see even in the big leagues at some point this season, good luck at your beginning point here for 2024, and looking forward to seeing what the journey hopefully get to New York at some point.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me being here with you guys. Appreciate it.
Real quick, we're just gonna say thank you to Easy Mortgage for sponsoring the show. Anybody needs some merch from our page, you can go to the website, you can grab some of our t-shirts, and go to the YouTube page and hit subscribe, and you get some more content. Great podcasts coming out. We have some great stories like Oddanier story and many other journeys that we want to share with our followers and our fans. So thank you again for coming out and watching Legends on Deck podcast episode 66. Thank you, Oddanier.
Thank you.